Yo, what's good, Spirit Squad? Today, we're going to be going over the Azorius Legends deck that we highlighted on this channel a couple of weeks ago. And if you want to watch a complete primer for that deck, it'll be right in the card above that you can click on. As for today's deck list, it'll be right in the video description below. Here, we're just going to be trying to do combat research on a bunch of flying, legendary, awesome creatures, along with Plaza of Heroes, so we have lots and lots of legendary synergy. Our sideboard is going to be a little bit tuned for decks like Rakdos Midrange with Archangel Avacyn and Mono Green with Disdainful Stroke. We also have some accidental upside against Mono Red with Knockout Blow and Phoenix with Unlicensed Hearse. Everything else is usually tied together with a mixture of either Portable Hole, Mystical Dispute, or, in the case of Spirits, both. We're going to jump right into a 5-match league, and yeah, let's look forward to this awesome gameplay. Alright, we got the die roll, so we are in fact going to play first, and our hand is pretty good actually. We've got Otawara, 2 Mausoleum Wanderers, Combat Research, and Plaza of Heroes, which can cast Giada. So we're going to keep this and be fairly happy about it. Okay, so we're going to Otawara into Mausoleum Wanderer to start with, and from here I assume that they're just going to think that we're probably Mono Blue Spirits, which, to be fair, we're pretty close to that today. But against Rakdos? Okay. Thoughtseize. Do I want them to take my Combat Research? Actually, I don't think I mind here. So I don't mind if they want to take the 2 life here, and I assume they're going to take the combat research to prevent me from drawing a card here, but that's fine because I can just play Giada and then Mausoleum Wanderer plus something else next turn too. So this actually isn't the end of the world, and they do in fact discard the combat research. Noted. Oh, haha, nice. All right. So here's a Plaza of Heroes, here's Giada, and then we're just going to get an attack for 1 in here. So this isn't that bad because now they can either deploy something like, I don't know, say a Blood Tithe Harvester, or they can try to hold up a Stomp, and that Stomp is going to do nothing. So now we get to just play a Combat Research right here, and let's get in for 3. And the fact that this has Ward is so strong. Here, I think we just want to play another Mausoleum Wanderer. So unfortunately, this doesn't have the ability to cast this spell since it's not an angel, but now if they want to play something like, say, a Dreadbore, they have to pay 3 because of the ward on this. So they can Thoughtseize out, and that'll take out Catilda, which is fine by me. I don't really care about that. And there's the Blood Tithe Harvester that we talked about previously. Okay, that's fine. So now we get to just go ahead, untap, and our Plaza of Heroes can actually protect our copy of Giada from just about anything they want to play too. So that's also pretty sweet for just us. So let's get in for 4. We get to draw a card. Another Plaza of Heroes is pretty good. And this is 3 and exile it. So I'm actually not going to do anything else here because I want to be able to protect my Giada with the Plaza of Heroes. I allowed. So this sucks if this is exactly Liliana. Oh, Fable. That's fine. Okay. Okay, so there's a Dennek. So I can play Plaza of Heroes here. And I can Catilda, which only gives it +2 power, so that goes to 5, and that's not lethal, so I'm not really inclined to do that here. Instead, I'm going to attack first and see what happens of this attack. So they go to 5, there's a Curious Obsession, so I'm going to go ahead and just play my Hope of Girper, which leaves me with the ability to still have this Giada protected by Plaza of Heroes. So they're going to have a bitch of a time getting rid of this. So they drop a Thoughtseize and a Blood Crypt, completely fine by me, of course. So hopefully they don't just have, like, I don't know, double Fatal Push or something. The ward from this is going to be pretty sweet, though. Yeah, I'm not blocking. So if I were to block, that opens up my Giada to a Bone Crusher Giant, which I don't really want to deal with. So they play a Sky Sovereign. Okay, so here I get to protect with the Plaza of Heroes. I do want to make them pay the ward first. There we go. We are now legendary and hexproof, and we have lethal in the air. Easy peasy beautiful. So now against them, I want the 2 copies of Archangel Avacyn, and I don't really think I want anything else against these people. I think I'm okay with this exactly as is otherwise. So the 2 cards that I want to take out here, yeah, I think Catilda is the card that I want the least. So the Pro Vampires doesn't really matter too much, even though Blood Tithe Harvester is a vampire and so is Kalitas, but like this card isn't really rumbling in combat with Kalitas. And the Pro Vampires against Harvester is medium important, but like not especially so. So let's just submit like this. Well, not gonna lie to y'all and say that I particularly enjoy having 3 of the same card here, but I do like having Spell Pierce and 3 threats at least, especially since I would expect the first couple of these to just go ahead and die anyway. So I am going to keep this rather than mulliganing, and let's just see what happens. Okay, so we have a big fat nothing with the turn 1, which I clearly am okay with. So let's start off with the Darker Waste. So it's not going to cause me any pain to play the Hope of Gearper first anyway, so I'm okay with that. And nothing here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and shock that in, because I do still plan on playing can't cast non-creature spells. So I could sacrifice this now and just go ahead and play a new one, but I already have a Spell Pierce, so I don't think I need to do that. Instead, if they play Kiki Jiki, I can just Spell Pierce that and be okay with it. Or a Trespasser. Okay. So Trespasser is obviously a pretty good clock, but let's see what happens here. A Lofty's actually kind of good. So I wish we had Lofty instead of Spell Pierce last turn, but you know, what can you do? So this is going to flip into a 4/4, and I'm not the happiest about that, but I currently can't do anything about it, so oh well. So we take the 4, we go to 14, and they have nothing smart to say. Okay. And what are we doing? We're making 2 spirit tokens, you got it. A pathway, so now they get to get their attack in. Still can't really do much about that, so it's kind of whatever. And still doing nothing on both ends. Okay. Where were you a few turns ago? Alright, let's go ahead and attack. Okay, so here we actually get to have like a lovely little trick here. I am going to sacrifice the Hope of Gearper now. So the reason I want to do that is because next turn, I assume obviously they attack with these 3, right? But now I can flash in Archangel Avacyn. It'll give itself indestructible, and since they can no longer cast non-creature spells during their next turn, they're not going to be able to actually do anything about this. So if they have, I don't know, Rending Volley or some other removal spell, right, it's going to end up being useless here, which is really nice for us. So they will get to eat this, which I am a little sad times about, but I'm still going to get to do this. And they can follow up with another creature, but there's no removal spell that they can play right now. So this is just going to get to block this for free. And I do go to 5, which is going to be a bit tough, but here I still have, oh my god, that was great. Let's do that, especially since I still have a bunch of counterspells in hand, and we draw an actual blue source, which I do want. So the blue sources can help me cast the actual counterspells, and this will help me cast the Hope of Gearper. This gets me a little bit around Liliana specifically. Now, the question is, do I want to play Mausoleum Wanderer and take down 1 counterspell? And I think the answer is no. Abrade. Are you sure, opponent? So giving the Abrade to this does mean that this is going to flip. It's going to kill the Sekensen tokens, but it opens me up to having the Stomp activate from their, whatever their 3-drop is called, Bone Crusher Giant. So we are all going to take 2. Their creatures are going to die, or 3. I go down to 2. Wait. Oh, each other creature in each opponent. Oh my god, I actually thought it was each player. That's even better than I thought. Chandra. So I am going to go ahead and Lofty. Or do I just protect with the... No, I'm going to Lofty. Okay. So looks like they're doing nothing too, which is pretty perfect. Let's untap. Another Archangel Avacyn. That works really well for me because this is not a shared name with this. So I can actually have both on the same time. So let's go ahead and get an attack in here. So they go to 2. I am going to get to draw a card. And a Linvala is a pretty good draw. So here I'm going to just go ahead and play Hope of Gearper. I'm going to play my Linvala. And Linvala is going to make it so that this stays indestructible. So like they got a lot of work on their hands. Okay, so they're going to go ahead and try to stomp this out. But I do have a Spell Pierce. So no, I'm just going to let that happen actually. I'm okay with that. So I'm just going to wait. That's not what I want. I want to add a blue. And the Mausoleum Wanderer is just a little extra insurance against, I don't know, like an extinction event maybe? Like if they have, I don't know, spell plus extinction event at odd. Oh no, odd still takes out my whole board. So like that's annoying, but I think I can deal with that. Because they currently only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Oh yeah, I'm still good. So unless they have exactly land extinction event, then I can still Mausoleum Wanderer plus Spell Pierce. Abrade here. Let's give everybody indestructible. Alright, let's go. A very easy 2-0 over Rakdos, and let's move on to the next round. Okay, we're on the draw, but our hand is not bad. Like, we have a decent 1-drop, a couple of Lofty Denials, a Combat Research, and a Legend to pair with it afterwards, so, like, this is going to be pretty good against most draws. So let's find out what our opponent's playing here. There's no Companion. Takanuma. Ditcher's Supplier. Okay. So, that oh, nice. So I'm actually going to play this Hope of Gearper then. This way I can Mausoleum Wanderer and play Combat Research, and then by the time they get to their turn 3, I will have double Lofty Denial active to counter any potential copies of Greasefang. So far so good, right? Maybe. We'll see. Can't stay away on a Satyr Wayfinder. Okay. So they're going to mill 4. They're looking for cards. And they do find a Greasefang with those 4 cards, but not a Parhelion. they take Temple Garden. So they're going to get a free attack in. I'm not going to be able to do much about this. And on this next turn, I am going to be able to cast a combat research because they don't have a vehicle here, which means that unless they have exactly another Stitcher supplier and can't stay away for this Greasefang, there is no way to revive a Parhelion this turn. So I'm going to go ahead and take my one, cry about it, and then move along to the next turn where another Mausoleum Wanderer is not bad. Okay. All right, so now we're going to get an attack in for 2. Let's draw a card. And the card is a Giada, which is not terrible. There we go. And what's cool about the Mausoleum Wanderer here is that it does a couple of things. If I end up drawing a Geistlight Snare over my next couple of turns here, then I will be pretty glad to just have a 1-mana counterspell. If not, I can still take care of things like most removal spells like, say, Vanishing Verse, Beseiju. That sucks. Okay. So they have to pay the ward, which is annoying, and they have to give me a land to do so. So I'm actually still pretty okay with that. So I'm going to put a Hallow Fountain into play tapped, and I don't really mind taking my 2 here. That's kind of whatever. So Adenik is really, really good for us here, because now they're not going to be able to target cards in their graveyard. So they have to get rid of Denik before they can cast Can't Stay Away or even reanimate anything with Greasefang. So yeah, so far so good. Now I would like to draw another Combat Research, Curious Obsession, or they're just going to concede. Look at Denik. All right, so here we've got Unlicensed Hearse, and do I want Avacyn's here? I think the answer is no. In the place of the Unlicensed Hearse, I will take out the Catildas. Yeah, I like everything else here. Okay, so our opponent is on a mulligan, and I don't really appreciate the fact that we have 3 of our 4 Darker Wastes in our hand, but I think this should still be okay. A Thoughtseize is annoying because they can take my Combat Research, but I'm still pretty okay with what's happening here. So they take Tomic. Okay, which means they likely have a removal spell of some sort for this, and that's pretty good for me. So let's start off with Mausoleum Wanderer then, since I don't have another turn 1 play anyway. Oh, we just don't have another play. Okay, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and get my attack in here. Aw, I'm sorry, opponent. Okay, so they do have a Fatal Push, that's fine. And that's exactly why we didn't want to go ahead and cast the Combat Research or Curious Obsession on the Wanderer, because, like, we don't have any protection for it currently. So here, they have another Fatal Push, you got it. So, oh, well, there's all 4 Darker Wastes, nice. So, upside, opponent's not really doing anything, and the first creature that comes up might end up doing something, but we actually have to draw a creature, so let's draw almost literally any creature. So they do have a Rafine's Informant, which means they can combo off next turn. If they, like, discard a Parhelion and their draw step is a land for a Greasefang, I'm still not safe at all. Oh, fuck. Alright, well, that sucks. Well, opponent, we might end up winning. I'm sorry, you might end up winning this game anyway. A Lofty Denial's actually pretty good, but I still want a threat. Well, now they have Greasefang. No, they don't. Okay, so I'm still stuck taking this 3 here. Well, maybe I did want the Archangels here. All right, let's see what we draw. Slip out the back. Pretty good if I see a creature, but I still have to see a creature. Oh no! So now they can just cast Greasefang without worry about Lofty Denial? Oh, sick. So, still not a fan if they find a Greasefang, but if I find a Denik specifically, then there is almost nothing they can do about that. So if I do find a Denik, for the sake of being able to fucking grr. Alright, Magic. Help me out, Magic the Gathering, pretty please. That's still not a creature. Come on, you're killing me, deck. Alright. Oh, you know what? Maybe I should have actually taken that too, because what happens here is if they find / cast a Greasefang here, then what they can get away with, and they do find a Greasefang. So they're going to get a free attack in here. What I should have done is allowed them to, or rather allowed this to deal me 2 damage so that I can slip out the back targeting Greasefang and, oh, all right. I'm good on that. Let's just go to game 3. So we are going to go ahead and just resubmit the same list here, but we'll be on to play. So we have 5 cards, all of which almost immediately shut the entire combo down. And that draw was really good. We just needed to see one more creature at almost any point earlier than we did. So fingers crossed that this one goes a lot better. So here we are going to play first, except come on. Okay, that's a lot better. So I'm going to get rid of a Darker Wastes here, and we're going to get to play Hope of Girpur to start. So now let's see what, if anything, happens here. They can Thoughtseize, they can do nothing, and we are Fatal Pushing. I'm okay with that. So here I'm going to, I think I'm just going to cast Giada here, because if they have another removal spell, I don't mind if they get rid of Giada, because I want Denik to be the one that actually lives. The downside to this line is that if they play a ground pounder, like say Stitcher Supplier or something like that, and have a removal spell for Giada, then, oh, that's fine. Like they can play Liliana or something, and I do still need to be able to untap with this Lofty Denial here in order to really protect Denik. But if they have yet another removal spell for this, like say Liliana, then I am ultra sad about that. Okay, so a Satyr Wayfinder's not bad. They find nothing. Okay. Is there another Fatal Push? A Duress, so they do get my Lofty. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I'm going to play this since they do know about it. So the lifelink is pretty good, and the fact that Plaza of Heroes can protect Denik is also really good. I just need to find more gas now. Grizzly Salvage, okay. And they find a Boseiju. Got it. And they played a Boseiju. Okay, all right. Gas, please. That counts. And they played a Boseiju too, so... oh, man. That's actually really good for us. So let's get an attack in here. And I'm going to do it like this because now I don't really care that that's going to the graveyard. I get to play the Unlicensed Hearse too, and they played the Boseiju as a land, which means that hopefully I'll be able to just start really controlling things here, and whether they can remove this or not, I'm still okay with this. Yeah, I was going to say a cat car is annoying, but like, as long as that's the most annoying thing that's currently happening, I think I'm okay. Oh, haha, right. They have to get rid of this before, oh, come on. Right, because I can't target things with the Unlicensed Hearse. Oh my god. I think I'm going to lose to my own Nambo, yeah. Okay. Witherbloom command to get rid of this, and the Drain and Gain. Okay, that sucks, but it happens. And they do have the Greasefang, so they can't target, which is good, but like, I am in not a great spot. So they can tap this to activate this, and I still need to find something to do here. Man. So I'm not going to block here. There's really not much of a point. Oh, come on. You know what? I'm off it. Well, let's just go to the next round. That was a lot of lands and not a lot of spells. So unfortunate, sad times, but it is what it is. Yo, so I see we're having a pretty good time with today's video. As always, if you like what you're watching, perfect. Click like on the video, sub to the channel, make sure I know about these things. But also, if you would like to further show your support, feel free to subscribe to the Patreon. The Patreon is where detailed matchup analyses and other article information will be. Our most recent articles happen to be about sideboarding. Whether you want to look at sideboarding theory or detailed matchup analyses, both of those will be available right on the Patreon. And also, shoutouts to our newest Patreons, Eduardo and Jamel. Thanks so much for showing support, and everybody else, let's get right back into the content. Okay, so we got round 3. We are on the play with a hand that is going back. Okay, this is much better. So here, I think I'm just going to get rid of one of these Hallowed Fountains, since we already have like good enough mana with the Mausoleum Wanderer, Plaza of Heroes, and then we have Combat Research with Slip Out the Back and Mausoleum Protection, so that's pretty good. And still no companion revealed, so we don't really know what we're playing against currently. We are playing against humans. Okay, that's pretty good too. So what I'm going to do here is just play the Giada anyway, and I will worry about Denik having, I'll worry about Denik having lifelink starting next turn, and for this turn, I can just go ahead, put Combat Research on Giada, have a 3/3 Vigilance. That's a pretty decent blocker against most things, and then just kind of proceed from there. Thalia's honestly only medium annoying. Lofty doesn't do anything, so here I'll just get my attack in regularly, because like this can't block and this has Vigilance, so like I'm good there. So here's my life linking friend. So now let's see if we can start either drawing other lands or doing things from here. Maybe Brutal Cathar takes out Denik or something else happens. We'll find out. Okay. And no attack is pretty good for us. Another Denik, not so good. So here I can attack with all 3, let Denik trade with something and play a new Denik. I don't mind that, especially if it helps me to get Thalia off the table. Let's try that. Oh, whoops, no longer playing against Greasefang. Okay, so we're going to drag Thalia over first, and they do have a Brave the Elements. Gross. So what do I want to do here? Do I want to produce a 3/4 lifelinking for next turn? I think the answer is yes. So I'll do that. So they still take 3. I still have my Vigilance here. And they do get to start attacking from here, but now I have a 3/4 lifelinker and untap into Combat Research targeting Giada. So I think I'm actually mostly okay with this. So Thalia gets to be a 3/2, which means they're attacking me for 5. But I honestly think I'm still okay with that. A Linvala is good, but I still have to draw a land to get there. So let's target Giada with the Combat Research and just start getting in. This way, if they want to get rid of my lifelinker, they have to, you know, Brutal Cathar here. but I'm still going to get to draw cards, and that feels all right. And they are going to get to attack for a total of 6 next turn here, but like, if I'm going to be gaining this much life, then I think I'm okay with that-ish. An island is helpful because now I can cast Linvala next turn. I do need to be a little careful because of these Mutavaults, but luckily the Mutavaults by themselves don't really get through Giada, so with them at 6, I'm not feeling too terrible. A well-timed Brave the Elements can get them there, but like, as it stands, I'm still doing okay. Okay, so we attack for 6, a total of 7. So we take that, we go to 9, and nothing? Wow. All right, opponent. I can cast this, but I don't think I care. Instead, I'm just going to attack with all 3 of my friends here. No, I'm going to hold Dennick back. So let's instead just attack with the Giada since that's a 2-turn clock anyway. What is this? Oh god, did I walk into Iganjo? Oh, that's actually okay. So they go to 4, and now I can cast Linvala. Castle Ardenvale doesn't do anything. I suppose the Sheffet Dunes potentially has the ability to be a little annoying, but like, they don't really get a great Brave the Elements turn because of their own Thalia. So I'm pretty sure we're okay here. Okay, so they are just going to put a counter on the Thalia. So that's attacking for, what is that, 7? I will just do that and let them bounce off of each other. So they can Brave the Elements to deny me lifelink, but I don't think that does anything. It doesn't. Okay, sweet. So now that game 1 is over, we have 4 copies of Portable Hole, and I do want the 2 copies of Archangel Avacyn. Cards that I don't really want here include basically all the counterspells. Like, I don't really want these here. Yeah. Okay. I think that's okay. Here we go. Let's take out all of these counterspells that I don't particularly want, put in removal and more threats. Our hand is, actually pretty good. I am interested in this hand. Dauntless Bodyguard. Noted. So I'm going to play you on the white side. Okay, so now our first turn's over. Let's see if they have, I don't know, a Thalia or something. Another Bodyguard, and that's currently it. Okay, so here I'm going to play Plaza, and I'm going to open up with Dennick. So Dennick opens me up to blue mana for combat research here, and if I don't want to do that, I can instead just cast Catilda and go from there. Brutal Cathar, okay. Annoying, but happens. A Hallowed Fountain. Do I want that or do I want Catilda more? Alternatively, I could play Hallowed Fountain, leave it untapped, and Iganjo? No, I think I'm going to play the Catilda, because I think Catilda has the highest upside if I'm allowed to untap. Adeline is really annoying, but oh well. So they're going to get their attack in. I'm going to take a total of 5, and Linvala's pretty good as far as draws go. Okay, so here I'm going to get to combat research. This is going to go up to a 3/3. I could play this and then play Linvala. Actually, that probably is a little better. Let's do that. So I understand that I'm sacrificing the Iganjo, which is potentially important, but I've got a source of lifelink here. I've got hexproof in case they try to get rid of my Catilda here. So we're not completely bereft of options here. I am at 14, and Adeline is a threat. Skyclave Apparition. Annoying. So they do have to pay the 1 if they want to target Catilda itself. They can target Portable Hole. They can target Combat Research. They have a lot of options here. They are targeting Linvala. Okay, I'm actually just going to let that happen. So what are we attacking for? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I go to 3? Yikes. Okay. Combat Research takes you to 5. Giada doesn't actually change at all. So I might as well just attack and draw 2 and hope that my draw helps me out here. Because if I go to 7 and can draw another creature to block with here, not that one. I no longer think I have outs. Right? We're still attacking for more than 7, right? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If I block Adeline, yeah, game 3 it is. Okay. So here's that. And with game 3, I'm still just going to press submit deck. So I like what we had going on there. I just don't like the idea of trying all of that on the draw. This is okay. So we can Hall of Storm Giants into Hope of Gearper and hope that our Giada is going to end up being good enough here, which a Giada into a 4/4 Linvala honestly probably is. Ooh, that's good too. All right. So let's get our attack in, play Giada. And if I draw a land with this next turn, I'll have a total of 4 mana. So, oh, never mind. So I was going to say maybe I can play both Linvala and Lofty, but guess not. But I do actually draw the land. So here, I think I'm going to just get my attack in, and I'm going to play you on the white side and just cast Linvala as a 4/4. And now another land lets me play Archangel Avacyn too. Brutal Cathar targeting Linvala is a little annoying. Looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. But I'm actually going to just let that happen because now I have Archangel Avacyn if I draw a land. All right. So here I really just want to draw another land. And we do. Perfect. All right. So here's that. Oh, you know what I could have done? I could have sacrificed this and in response to Archangel Avacyn's trigger. Oh, that would have been better. Because then I would have been able to wipe both of these. Oh, man. All right. Well, noted for next time. But I'm still pretty okay with getting a free block from this. Kithian is fine. You pay 3 to get indestructible, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So they can go ahead and use a Brave the Elements to not just die to the Archangel. And they have not played a land, so they can also Brave the Elements for white. So they do have outs, but if neither of those are the thing they have, then we're doing okay. All right. Let's go. And another Brutal Cathar happens. Okay, so now they can target Archangel Avacyn. Oh, no, they can't. Haha, it's nighttime. Sick. Yeah, it goes back to being day. They can target that, but I can give it hexproof. Yeah, I'm just going to do that. Hexproof. So now that a creature's died, I'm going to sweep the board with the next turn, and then I still have Lofty up. Combat Research 2? Let's go. So they can pay 3 to give this indestructible, but like, we are relatively well past the point of caring about that. So let's get an attack for a total of 9 in. Since the hope is already dying, I'm just going to sacrifice it too. And all right, sweet. So 2 and 1, let's move on to the next round. All right, so what are we in, round 4? We are also on the play with another stinker of a hand. Come on, deck. You're killing me here. This is much better. All right, sick. So here I want to keep everything but the Darker Waste. Yeah, I'm in for that. All right. Go away Painland and say hello to our friend Mausoleum Wanderer. So we'll click no possible play. And now let's see what our opponent cooks up. Plains. Okay, so we're against humans again. We just got done doing this. So let's go ahead and play Tomic then. Bloop, bloop, and I will get an attack in. So they can't really attack through Tomic. And I'll be pretty excited to put a combat research on this guy. There's a Thalia. That's going to do nothing for now. So, upsides, downsides, right? So, I'm definitely putting this here, but I'm not going to be able to do anything else. I mean, you know what? This is actually fine, though, because even though I can't cast my Slip Out the Back until next turn, I actually think I'm still pretty okay with this. Because I can just, like, cast Limvala this turn here. Brutal Cathar can target the Mausoleum Wanderer, but it's not going to be able to get a hold of the Tomic. Ooh, they targeted the Tomic. Nice, nice. So that's going to get countered. Because of the combat research's ward, so opponents learning about that the hard way. Can't do much about the attack, so we just take 4 here. But as it stands, we're actually winning this race, so let's untap. We did not draw land, which is still fine. We're gonna go ahead and just play Linvala here. Yeah, and I don't even really care that much that we're not waiting until combat ends to see what we get. Like, I'm just gonna be okay with doing it like this. Like, was it correct? No, but whatever. Realistically, if we're going to be drawing an extra card in the middle of combat, we should probably wait until post-combat to start casting cards and doing stuff, but it is what it is. So here, realistically, they're probably just going to try to... Okay, so now they're going to go ahead and target the Tomic, but this time I've got Emeria. So they're going to have to pay the mana, and they're still not going to get access to this. So let's go ahead and give ourselves hexproof, and we will be taking the 6 and going to 8 here. I'm okay with this. So here I want to play Denick, but not until after I attack. So let's take them down to 8 here. We draw Catilda. If I play Catilda, she's what, a 3/3? I think I'm going to play Denick here. So doing it like this, I give myself a lifelinker, which can go ahead and block something like a Thalia just fine. If they cast Thalia's Lieutenant, then yeah, that sucks. But as it stands, they can try to target something with Brutal Cathars if they don't cast a spell, and I can protect with Plaza of Heroes. No, I think I'm just going to go ahead and give myself the ability to cast my Slip Out the Back. So this feels okay-ish, because if they just do it like this, then they don't really get to attack. I mean, they can technically attack, but it's kind of ugly. So they're probably stuck trying to cast a spell? Not sure. We are... Damn it, it was a Thalia's Lieutenant. Okay, well, I cry about it. That sucks. Mutavault up as well. Yeah, you got it. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attackers here, and they're at 8. I think we have lost to the Thalia's Lieutenant, yeah. Okay, so I can Slip Out the Back one thing, and then get some blocks in. It almost doesn't really matter what I block, but I do want to block something that's not Thalia to guarantee that I actually get my lifelink off. So I live at 2. Do I have any sort of reasonable out here? I'm pretty sure the answer is no. Oh, you know what? I should have gotten rid of Thalia so I could at least cast both of these and give myself like an honest try of some sort. Yeah, all right. That's enough of that. So here we did not want the spell pierces. We didn't want the Geistlight snares, and I think we took out one Lofty Denial in the place of 4 portable holes and 2 copies of Archangel Lavison. Yeah, that's what we did last time. So let's go ahead and do that again. And let's hope that it works out just as well as it did last time, because I'm not a big fan of being on the draw for game 3. But if we can manage to get out of what's probably going to be a relatively savage ass whooping for, game 1 all the time, then I'm still pretty much okay with what's happening here. Okay, so this time they do have a Thraben Inspector. So let's go ahead and lead off with first an attack, because I'm not blocking this thing. And then we're going to go ahead and lead off with a Giada here. So this way, if we do draw a Combat Research or a Curious Obsession, I'm not super worried about them, being able to shut off my entire plan with just ground pounders. I can get my flyer through and that's okay. Okay, so Luminarch Aspirant can make this a 2/3, so I'm not going to be able to block that, which, I don't know, we kind of assumed was happening anyway, so let's go ahead and get rid of the Luminarch Aspirant here. Hi, piss off. And I actually don't mind just holding on to this Lofty Denial for this turn. Like, if they do power up a Mutavault and just kind of do that with their turn, I'm still pretty okay with that, because at least that takes up the entire turn, and that still gives me leeway to, like, Dennick plus Wanderer next turn. So if this is just going to be, like, a Brutal Cathar, then at least we can... Oh, well, that's good enough. I don't mind getting rid of that. I have a flying creature opponent. Okay, so I'm going to take 2 again, cry about that, and then let's go ahead and draw what? An island. Honestly, don't really want that, but it's what we got. So let's do that. Attack for 4. Okay, so now they're at 12, and we can go ahead and cast our friend Dennick here. So I've got a lifelinker, a couple of flyers here. So what I really want is just like a combat research would be nice. Oh, them drawing a card is actually pretty good for us. Okay. Yeah, this is actually like a near preferable start for us. Like, I'm actually pretty happy about this. So if they just want to attack with the 2/3, nope. Okay, doing nothing. I mean, that does make the most sense, but Ooh, that's nice. All right, well, I'll attack with just the flyers. 1, 2, 3. And then my Linvala is going to come into play as a 4/4. I'm here for that. So now this is going to come in with the +1 counter. And they are looking at lethal in the air. Obviously, that changes if they come up with like a Brutal Cathar here. Like, that's pretty annoying because that can get rid of the Linvala. But even if they do that, I can choose to either pop the Linvala, giving my creatures indestructible and denying them an attack, or I can just like let it happen. And if Brutal Cathar goes away later, then I get my Linvala back, and that's okay too. Or we're going to go to a game 3. I'm in for that. So once again, keeping the same configuration as game 2. Wow. Nice knowing you, little hand. Yikes. Okay, well, this is what we're doing today. Well, consider me sad. We might be heading to 2/2 land. Opponent starting off with nothing but a Mutavault is actively pretty good for us. So it does, of course, mean that since they kept 7, they probably got like a really powerful hand of like Thalia plus stuff. But we might still end up being able to like mostly get our way out of this. Luminarch Aspirant, also not a bad start for our opponent. So here, do I want to Dennick or do I want to combat research? And I think I want to give myself access to Dennick. Yeah. So I am a little unhappy about specifically Brutal Cathar on Dennick. If they just play like something to, I don't know, maybe pump this and then attack for 3, whatever. It is a Brutal Cathar. Dang it. You know what? This isn't even that terrible though, because what I can do here is play this as a white land and combat research here. I can get my attack in, and I can still Iganjo Brutal Cathar because it'll only cost 2 because I have a legendary creature. So if maybe we can catch them out of sorts that way, because our hand is nothing but land, so like, what else am I going to do, really? And this is a... Oh, come on. All right, well, my hand is 4 lands, so I'm just going to pack it up and move to the next round. That's unfortunate. GG, opponent. Okay, last round, fighting against Rapid Lewis. So let's see if this hand ends up being good enough here. And I don't really hate it, right? Like, we've got 2-drop, 3-drop, Combat Research Counterspell against a tapped Temple Garden, which I'm pretty okay with. So let's see if this Spell Pierce ends up actually having text in this matchup. Being that they cast Temple Garden turn 1, I think probably not. But hey, This could be... Okay, it's a Raffine's Informant. I was going to say it could just end up being a... Oh, okay. So I actually have to keep up Lofty Denial. Great. Alright. Since I'm not playing a creature anyway, I might as well get my one untapped land in while I can. And if they just, like, jam a Greasefang, then I'll be pretty happy to just have my Lofty Denial up and ready here. What's this? It's a Satyr Wayfinder. And they already have the Parhelion in the graveyard, so I don't think it would have ever been right to counter that. So, don't really want that. Alright, so I guess I gotta kind of skip one more turn here, and then starting next turn, I can play, like, Giada, Hold Up, either Spell Pierce or Lofty Denial, and then the following turn I can Linvala. So, like, this is certainly not great, but it's not stone nothing. Another Wayfinder, and as long as you're spending their turns doing this and not actually making me cast my counterspell, like, this is obviously not preferable, but, like, it could be a lot worse. And they put Takanuma in their hand, so I do want to be slightly aware of that. Alright, and there's also a Hope of Girper. So I actually think I want to play Hope more than Giada? Question mark? Yes, let's do that. So I'm going to play the Hope of Girper instead. So this will give me the ability to hold up both Spell Pierce and Lofty Denial. So just in case I need to fight through, like, Removal Spell Plus. That doesn't make me happy. Ugh, Magic. Come on. So now they get to take the Lofty and then just, like, cast a Greasefang. If they have that, we will just pack it up. Okay, there's a Lofty, and let's hover over the Concede button here. And there's the Greasefang. Alright, next game. Yeah, that was not great. So we've got Unlicensed Hearse here, and I think we took out Catilda's in this matchup, because everything else is pretty decent. Yeah. Alright, so let's submit here. Okay, so this time we get to be on the play, which is nice. And our hand is, okay. This is fine. Like, obviously I like the Dennick against any of the graveyard type shenanigans. So, like, the Greasefang itself, any of their, oh, what card am I thinking of? Can't Stay Away, stuff like that. So, like, that'll be nice. And this is another tap to that. Sure thing. Oh, that's actually pretty good for us. So what I'm going to do here is attack and then just play Hope of Girper, holding up Spell Pierce. And then starting next turn, I can play Dennick and protect it with either Slip Out the Back or Spell Pierce. So that's pretty nice. That's a creature, which I can't do much about, so you got it. There's the Parhelion. So now we're going to go ahead and do the untap. So we're going to play you on the blue side. 1-2. Now we get to play our friend. And this doesn't feel so bad, right? Like, now if they Liliana, I get to Spell Pierce it. If they try to target a removal like Abrupt Decay, I get to Slip Out the Back. And either way, that feels okay for me. So what's this? Okay, so they're just playing Greasefang. You got it. So they don't get to target the Parhelion at all, which is nice. And let's untap. Hedgegate Pathway. So here I would really love to see... Oh, crap. Okay, well, that's just actively bad. You know, I hope that this next turn I do manage to actually draw something that will make use of white mana next turn, like Omic or something, so that I feel a little justified in playing these Hedgegate Pathways on the white side. But I really should have left myself access to double blue. That was just, no excuses, that was just not good. Okay, so now we're going to begin combat again. They do get to attack with, oh, they're attacking with just that, that's fine. So we take this, we go to 14. And now let's see what they do. Is this just a cat car? It is, and I'll be pretty happy to Spell Pierce that. Alright, so let's untap. Now we do have the double blue, and we've got a spare Dennick, which is nice. So let's go ahead and attack with our flyers here. And yeah, we'll just go ahead and pass here. 1, 2, 3. A Liliana is actually okay. So if they minus, then I don't mind just discard a card. Sweet, I can discard my spare Dennick. That's actively good for me. Okay. Are you an Abrupt Decay? You are an Abrupt Decay. Okay, so the way this works now is that I'm going to let the Abrupt Decay resolve so that they can target their Parhelion. When they target the Parhelion, I'm going to get to Slip Out the Back the Okiba Gang Boss here. And then this is going to come onto the table, but it won't actually be able to do anything. So now they think they've, you know, gone ahead and won the game. And to be fair, they're not doing so bad. So let's let them target the Parhelion, then we Slip Out the Back here. And now Parhelion's going to hit the table, but nothing can crew it. So I will take the 3, though. So yeah, you got me on this one. All right. So for now, we have avoided certain disaster, right? Let's 1, 2, 3, 4. And the back half of this is a spirit, so my Mausoleum Wanderers are +2s now, which means I get to attack your face here, Liliana here, so that if they want to discard for Liliana, and get back discard for Greasefang and get back the Parhelion, at least they have to work a little bit for it. Granted, they still have a lot of stuff, like more of these, Grizzly Salvages, honestly, all kinds of shit. But, from anywhere, yeah. So if they do find, damn it, they did. All right, all right, all right. We tried. We tried. Unfortunate. Well, we are ultra dead because even if I block the 5/5, I'm still taking 4, 8, 11. So that is going to be game. And yeah, it's kind of what it is. So overall here, I actually think this deck was not that bad. Like, yeah, we did go 2 and 3, but like a lot of the 2 and 3s part, or rather the 3 part of the 2 and 3, a lot of that really did come from us ending games with like 3 and 4 lands in our hand, which really tells me that this deck has some promise for when it does win games, but when we lose games, we just like really need velocity. And I guess the fact that this deck, unlike mono blue spirits, doesn't really have mana sinks or anything, ended up being a relatively big downside of this, right? Because in the mono blue list, you have things like Ascendant Spirit that make use of your mana. You have things like Faceless Haven that give you outlets for extra mana. And this deck, outside of exactly like the 2 channel lands and your Hall of Storm Giants, doesn't really have a way for you to sink extra mana into things like cards or extra advantages. Also, the fact that we have to play a lot of our cards at sorcery speed, yeah, it just, in all honesty, I did kind of figure this was going to end up being a much worse mono blue, even with combat research making our individual creatures a lot better. And we found out that both of those things ended up being true, right? Like, the Giada was actively amazing, especially with the combat research. Like, this card was fantastic the entire time. This was pretty serviceable. The Archangel Avacyn's out of the sideboard were excellent. And Linvala was really good. But, like, Dennick just being a 2/3 ground pounder, even with lifelink, like, we didn't run across mono red, so it just, like, didn't matter that much. The Mausoleum Wanderer honestly did a lot more work than Dennick did. The Catildas actively just kind of sucked. Like, we never had a moment in which we really wanted to be casting her. And like, Tomic was fine, but hard to cast alongside your things like combat research and your spell piercings and stuff. So I think this deck ended up being a little clunky, but overall, it was really fun still. Like, we got to play some cards that we would otherwise never really have excuses to jam together, like Who's Put Hope of Gearper in a sleeve in 2022. So that was a little fun little moment. Lofty Denial was still really good because everything in our deck but the front half of Tomic actually works well with that. And the counterspell was appreciated. We had some, I don't know, some issues with the sideboard just being not irrelevant. That's not the word I want to use here. But I think I needed much stronger hate cards for what the format is doing if I'm playing a deck that's not as controlling as Spirits is. Because we did get to play a bunch of counterspells, right? Like, there's 9 counterspells in the main deck. But at the same time, our creatures are not doubling as counterspells, right? Like, Mausoleum Wanderer is usually just a 1/1. Like, you don't have Rattle Chains to protect your own friends when your opponent casts like Abrupt Decays. You have to actually care about Abrupt Decay. There's not like, I mean, Supreme Phantom is like pretty good and almost an equivalent to Giada when you have Linvala in your deck, but like, you don't have Spectral Sailors that just like hold up and pump your Mausoleum Wanderer, stuff like that. There's no Shacklegeist, which is a huge, huge, huge deal. Like, not being able to actively control combat honestly kind of sucked. Like, when our opponent wanted to attack, we just kind of like had to let them. And that's just not the life we want to live, right? I'm just like not very used to opponents saying, okay, let's go into the combat step. And I just say, okay, that's fine. Like, I don't think this deck can really afford to say, okay, that's fine. But that's okay. Like, it was just a fun little experiment to do with combat research because I was excited about being able to play this card. And now that we finally did get a chance to play this card, I can say that it was fun each time we actually got to make use of it. And the sideboard cards that were relevant in this league were pretty good. Like, Portable Hole was good against the mono white deck. Archangel Avacyn was good against a couple of decks. Unlicensed Hearse, when we saw it, was good against Greasefang, even if the rest of our hands were not. And I think that's what I would take away from this the next time I wanted to play this deck, right? Like, I would definitely want to actually play more of the legends that have like, like flash at the higher end. Like, maybe Archangel Avacyn should have been in the main instead of the sideboard. Or maybe this deck just needs more things to be able to do with its mana. Because a lot of the decks that function well in this format actually can make use of their mana on all of their turns. For example, like Spirits, like we said before, has cards like Collected Company, Spectral Sailor, Faceless Haven, all kinds of things available to make use of our mana while holding up Counterspell. The Rakdos decks have like Creature Lands, Castle Lochthwain, all kinds of things to use their mana. Even the control decks have like the white and blue castles. They have Shark Typhoon tokens to cycle, and they don't really end up wasting their turns. And we ended up wasting quite a few turns when we're stuck with like 3, 4, 5 lands, but also no real action outside of Plaza of Heroes. And I think maybe that's something to address for like a potential next time. But as it stands, this was still a fun little experiment to try. So if you want to try something similar, let me know which legends would you have played in these spots. Like, would you maybe have gone above the 3-drop spot and played some 4s and 5s? Yeah, this is something I might explore in the future again. But that's going to be it for today. As always, if you like what you're watching, make sure to click the like button, let me know. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and I'll see y'all on the next one.